Coming up on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
We'll introduce you to some individuals and operations who exemplify exceptional animal care and handling. Plus, we'll discuss a new product from Corteva that allows you to preserve white clover while still getting enhanced weed control.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Ochsner. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association's off to a great start in 2025. Almost 8,500 people attended CattleCon in San Antonio, bringing with them an incredible sense of energy and excitement for the year ahead. However, there's still plenty of work to be done. And joining us now to talk more about that work is NCBA Chief Executive Officer Colin Woodall. Colin, I know one of the primary events and topics of business is the rollout of the 2025 priorities. What will the Washington, D.C. office be focused on this next year?
We're focused on producer profitability. We need to make sure that all of our actions help producers make the most of their operations with an opportunity to be profitable. Because if they can't be profitable, then we won't have members and we won't have an association. And we're going to do that through two pathways. One is working with President Trump and his new administration to find regulatory actions that actually help us rather than harm us. For example, we'll be working to roll back a lot of the burdensome Biden-era climate regulations that we're dealing with.
Good.
We're going to make sure that we fix Secretary Vilsack's actions to take red meat off of the plate in the dietary guidelines. We'll be working to make sure that USDA has all the resources they need to help us control animal diseases, especially foreign animal diseases, and to address things like New World screwworm. We also want to make sure that fake meat is labeled, and we want to try to do everything we can to streamline the pathway for permittees in the work that they do in the West. But we also need Congress to engage. We need a farm bill, and we need Congress to address all the expiring provisions in the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act.
Let's talk about that. I mean, exactly what happens if those 2017 tax provisions are allowed to expire?
Leading that list is the death tax. The death tax is going to expire. All the provisions what we were able to get in the last bill are going to expire at the end of 2025. So what that means is the exceptions that we've been able to put in place. For example, right now, each individual can exempt $13.99 million worth of assets from the death tax. So with a couple, that is almost $28 million worth of exemptions. We want to be able to maintain that and grow it. If this is allowed to expire, that level is going to go down to $5 to $7 million. So it's going to be a huge liability for producers. So we are working to ensure that not only can we maintain those exemption levels, but we can grow them over time, much like we have done with all the provisions of the 2017 bill. We also have legislation that's been introduced to fully repeal the death tax.
I know the Endangered Species Act has a significant impact on producers, particularly in some parts of the country. Can you explain, are we making significant progress on that issue?
The Endangered Species Act had the best of intentions when it was passed. But unfortunately, like so many things that we see out of our federal government, the unintended consequences are the things that cause the burdens. And they're causing a lot of burdens on us as landowners and land users. So we believe we have an opening here with a new Secretary of the Interior, Secretary Doug Burgum, who is pro-agriculture and pro-business, to be able to talk through that and to show him that when it comes to endangered species, we as landowners, especially as cattle producers, are the best partners in helping with species recovery. But that species recovery needs to be recognized, and we need to take species off of the list. And so we do believe that with his overall pro-business perspective, pro-agriculture perspective, we have an opening here that we haven't had in a while.
Now, if I understand correctly, also included in the 2025 priorities are programs and provisions around predator control and compensation programs for depredation. And clearly, Colorado, we dealt with some wolves issues that have been very significant to some producers here. We don't talk about that issue much on this program. Can you explain more about that to our audience?
Predators are a problem for producers, and not just producers in the West. A lot of times we think about wolves, we think about grizzlies, but you also have to think about things such as black vultures, which are prevalent in almost half of this country and are a huge problem, especially during calving season. So our position is to, once again, much like the ESA, utilize an administration that is interested in helping us to try to address our issues, to make sure that, one, we can have the opportunity to control these predators as landowners without the fear of liability or retribution, but also make sure that there is a program in place to compensate producers for their losses. Because we cannot expect, especially in a situation where a species has been reintroduced, to allow the producers to bear all that burden. And right now they are. We need to make sure we are compensating them in the event we cannot get out and control them.
I'm thrilled to hear that. You know, all the things we've been talking about have a direct impact on producer profitability. But I find it interesting that you actually called out profitability as part of the 2025 policy priorities. Tell us more.
When you think about it, this association was established in 1898 to look at producer profitability. I think over the years, we've spent a lot of time focusing on a lot of the individual provisions that have a direct result on profitability, such as taxes and ESA. But we've never just come out and said, we are focusing on profitability as a whole. And we felt it was time, again, with a new Congress, a new administration, and knowing that all the work that we have done in the past leads to that, we want our members and everybody in this industry to know that NCBA is focused on producer profitability. The work we have done for almost 127 years is focused on producer profitability. And we will continue to do that, because if we do not have producers who can stay in business, then they're not going to be able to take care of their land. They're not going to be able to take care of their cattle or their families or have an association like NCBA.
Agreed. Well, you have a full plate of priorities and a robust agenda, but I'm confident in you and your team, and so good luck in 2025 as we implement and execute those.
Thank you, Kevin.
Now, one of the most important things cattlemen and women can do is join the fight to protect our industry by becoming a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. It's easy to do. Just call 866-233-3872, or you can go to the website ncba.org. Still ahead on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll take a look at the Beef Quality Assurance Program and its value to the beef industry. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Flagging obstacles, mapping boundaries, setting AB lines. What used to take plenty of time in the tractor seat now gets done with a Gator XUV. Precision ag technology goes nimble in our redesigned utility vehicle. It's tech that's efficient, effective, and easy to implement into your operations. Get more from your Gator XUV with Bluetooth connectivity, AutoTrack ready compatibility, and Green Star ready operation. Upgrade the way you work today.
Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. NCBA is the oldest and largest national cattle industry organization working to defend your interests in Washington, D.C. And there are big benefits to being a member. You'll get news you can use in the National Cattlemen, email updates in the NCBA Beef Bulletin, plus big discounts only for NCBA members. Join by calling 866-233-3872 or online at ncba.org.
Over the years, beef producers across the country have embraced the Beef Quality Assurance Program, also known as BQA, in part because it's a way to keep beef demand strong. Here to talk more about the BQA program is Josh White, Senior Executive Director of Producer Education and Sustainability for NCBA. Josh, how does the BQA program work to improve both the quality and the safety of the beef we produce, and why is that important to our industry?
Yeah, BQA from the beginning has been all about connecting our mindset on the farm or ranch to the end product, right? We're raising beef ultimately, so how do those everyday cattle management practices help us deliver the highest quality product to consumers? I mean, after all, the kind of why does it matter? All those dollars that come into the beef industry originate with someone deciding to buy and eat some beef, and we want that to be an outstanding experience every time. You know, we've had a fantastic quality revolution, I would say, in the last 25 years in the beef industry, and BQA has been a big part of that.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that your team has done extraordinarily well is made it just incredibly easy to get your BQA certification. Tell us about some of the ways that producers can become BQA certified.
Well, I always lead with in-person certification because the best experience, in my opinion, is getting hands-on experience around an in-person BQA certification in your state, if that's available. There's just something valuable, not only about hearing from the experts, but also visiting with your fellow producers, picking up ideas. And as we become a more digitized world, maybe we need to just see one another and hang out a little bit too. So that's my first recommendation. And then, of course, online, we have tremendous resources that allow you to get certified on BQA. And then we've launched a new continuing ed platform, a continuing education platform that if you are certified and in our system, it unlocks the doors to our CE platform. So for those to get recertified with continuing ed.
That's outstanding. And we should also mention there's actually a BQA awards program.
That's right. For years, more than a decade now, we've recognized outstanding producers in every sector, as well as a marketer and educator each year. And I think it's important this day, there can be a lot of negativity out there. How do we recognize those folks that are doing the right thing and setting a great example? And it also helps us elevate some spokespeople and new leaders in the program and spokespeople all the way to the consumer too. Consumers are more curious today than ever about where their food comes from. And what better way than to recognize outstanding producers that follow BQA guidelines to promote to consumers as well.
Yeah, they really are inspirational stories and incredible producers that you recognize. Thank you for coming to the show and sharing with us a little bit about this very, very critically important program to the beef industry.
Absolutely.
As Josh just mentioned, each year NCBA recognizes farms, ranches, and individuals who demonstrate excellence in implementing the beef quality assurance principles. Here's a look at the 2025 BQA Award winners.
Heali Ikaina Hekawa Kekanaka, which translates as the land is chief and the man is its servant. I feel that the beef quality assurance program, we're ensuring that the end product is, of a higher standard because we hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Beef quality assurance is a set of standards, a set of practices that we implement here at Parker Ranch as cow-calf operators to ensure that this segment of the production cycle is being done appropriately so that the next segment can be successful.
When we handle our animals right, everything seems to go better for everybody. So we appreciate the fact that whether it's our horses or our cattle, it's a partnership and we're trying to get the job done together. And like any team, at the end of the day, if you feel like you've done a good job, it's because you had a good partnership.
Big small to me means I want to be able to raise 100,000 animals like I would raise 10. And same with employees. If I have 1,000 employees, I want to be able to treat them the same as if I had 5 or 10 of them.
We've trained close to 100% of our employees, whether it's a new employee who's never worked on a calf ranch before, or if it's one of our employees that's been here for 15 or 20 years.
We think beef QA is really important for the industry, and we're striving to open up what we're doing to get ideas from the industry and then improve year on year.
BQA is important to me and our farm because it's a way for us to show the consumer that we're following specific practices to ensure the health, comfort, well-being of our cows. That step in between us and the consumer that helps that consumer feel confident that our animals are well taken care of.
To see our cows thrive and being able to produce high-quality products, whether that is milk or beef, that's one of our major joys in life.
The BQA principles are important from start to finish of a beef's lifespan, right? And anyone is able to walk into this market. Anyone's able to come to the auction when it's open, and they can sit right here in these seats and watch how these cattle are marketed. These animals are handled correctly. They're not stressed out as they're getting sold and moved onto a semi-truck or unloaded and brought here.
You handle them and handle them right, there's going to be less stress on them. You know, get them on the truck, get them to the feed yard where they need to be, and they should be a better act to go to work for you.
One of the reasons we looked at BQA is there's a small premium for those who are BQA certified. One of the things we try to do to our employees is just teach them how to handle. That's important around here. The better handling practices we have, the more efficient our sale barn runs. All that adds up and brings more quality and more value to their product.
There's never going to be a day where we do everything perfectly. Perfect doesn't exist.
There's no successful sovereign country anywhere in the world where education is not an important aspect of the culture. It's true in an individual industry like the beef industry. If we want to change behaviors that help improve the industry on a continual basis, we have to be willing to educate. The BQA program is unique in one aspect, and it's the first voluntary program that I'm aware of that was implemented to try and improve the value of the final product. If you look at what has happened relative to pricing and even considering inflation, there is more demand for beef at a higher price, relatively speaking, than there was in 1991. And so BQA is and will remain a hugely important aspect of what the checkoff funds and what beef producers do on a daily basis.
Still to come, we've got to look at a game-changing product from Corteva that offers weed control while preserving white clover. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Cattle producers across the country work hard to care for their animals and their land. The USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service is there to help. Find out how you can work with NRCS to develop a conservation plan for your operation. Find possible funding resources for implementing conservation practices, or get free expert advice on ways to improve your farm or ranch. Visit the website nrcs.usda.gov today.
Cattlemen and women are dedicated to managing their land and cattle in a sustainable way. They want to leave a legacy for future generations. For more than 30 years, the Environmental Stewardship Award has worked to honor these caretakers of the land and to share their stories. To find out more and to learn how you can nominate a farm or ranch for the Environmental Stewardship Award, visit the website environmentalstewardship.org.
Grass is a critical resource in the beef industry, which is why producers spend so much time and effort keeping pastures healthy and weed-free. Those producers who manage their 4-H resources well not only put pounds on their cattle, they also maximize their profit potential. Here's a look at a game-changing product from Corteva that offers enhanced weed control while preserving white clover.
Producers know good grass makes good cattle. Now, improving the forage mix for cattle while also controlling weeds has gotten easier with the launch of NovaGraze, a new herbicide from Corteva Agriscience.
NovaGraze herbicide, it's a brand new herbicide we're bringing to the market in 2025. And it's special in that it's a brand new tool in the toolbox for producers that want to control broadleaf weeds while still preserving white clover. So before now, they have not had that option. So really excited to bring NovaGraze to the market here in 2025.
The long-lasting question that we've had throughout the Midwest and other areas is what can we use to control our weeds that won't also kill our white clover? I have worked with it for the last several years now and been able to see it and work with some cooperators who have referred to it as the Holy Grail. Use that just as a kind of a flippant term in that it provides a solution to a problem that we've had for a long time.
I think it will be a huge benefit to this whole fescue area because we'll be able to keep all of our legumes, our white clover and our lespedeza. It will get rid of the weeds that people are scared to kill now because they don't want to lose their legumes. I mean, they're going to be able to keep their clover with this product. So it will be a huge advantage to this area.
McClure is one of the producers who participated in field trials with NovaGraze, getting a first-hand look at how this new herbicide provides effective weed control while not taking out the white clover.
In this fescue region, we struggle with Canadian thistles, musk thistles, ragweed, pigweed, cucumber's, a variety of weeds that will only be killed by products that also kill the legumes. And we can control those weeds now and be able to keep our white clover and our Lespedeza.
Broadleaf weeds can be one of our biggest threats to productivity in a pasture or hayfield. It becomes even more of a complex issue when we're dealing with a pasture that has a good stand of white clover or annual Lespedeza, because we really have not had any good effective options that we could use to control the broadleaf weeds without also affecting or controlling the white clover annual Lespedeza.
You know, those that really value the white clover as a high quality, high producing forage, they're going to benefit from it. But anyone that really wants to maximize production, maximize efficiency on that given acre that they're managing, you're going to see a benefit from that NovaGraze.
NovaGraze is applied after weeds emerge and does not have a long residual, so the timing of application is important. In addition, NovaGraze does have some initial effect on the clover before it recovers.
It would not be uncommon to see yellowing and lodging of clover. You'll definitely know that you made the application for the first couple 2 to 3 weeks after the application. After 3 weeks and beyond, you'll see that the clover will recover and the long-term effects are not detrimental to the production on that pasture hayfield in the long term. But it is something to be aware of and be cognizant of that can happen.
We did a little trial, 3 acres, and within 2 or 3 days we could see what we had got. And after 2 weeks, we come back over here and it was bloom. Whiteheads everywhere. You could see the ragweed was gone. You could see the thistles, the blackberries were still turned down, not gone quite yet. But the main thing was that the clover was still there. And it looked like it was thriving still.
Producers value white clover for the high protein content and palatability it provides for their cattle. Now with NovaGraze, they no longer have to make a choice between preserving white clover and controlling weeds in their pastures.
It's really exciting, again, because we heard this from the field that, hey, we need this product. And at Corteva, that's what we try to do. We try to fill gaps, bring solutions to producers that have a need. And this has been a need for a long time, so we're excited in 2025 to finally get NovaGraze out there for them to make those applications, preserve the white clover, and really capture the benefits of that valuable legume.
To learn more about NovaGraze, visit novagraze.us/C2C. You can also talk with your local retailer or Corteva range and pasture specialist about putting NovaGraze herbicide to work for you. Find your Corteva specialist at rangeandpasture.com/specialist. I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
And we'll be back to wrap up our show right after this. Stay with us.
Grazing and pasture management is really the critical first step in our cow-calf operation. Without good quality pastures, good quality forage, it'd be really tough to make it with a cow-calf operation.
Are you concerned about the impact government policies could have on your cattle business? One way to make your voice heard in Washington is by joining NCBA. When you join, you'll be part of the nation's oldest and largest national cattle industry organization that has a professional team working in Washington, D.C. on issues that matter to cattle-producing families nationwide. Don't stay on the sidelines. Make your voice heard by joining NCBA today at the website ncba.org.
you have an upcoming production sale to advertise? Then contact the Cattlemen to Cattlemen marketing team or your breed association to learn more.
Welcome back. It's time now for this week's legacy photos, which are submitted by farm and ranching families all across the country. Let's take a look. Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week right here on RFD TV.